they are there to enrich your children's lives while giving them an education. You feel like you've won the lottery, actually, when you see the reaction of your children.
Every child should feel welcome and important and should have an education. And at Spaulding we have that.
What a great opportunity to sit down and talk to two parents that their kids have been in the Spaulding Day School in Wasaga Beach, and to hear about your experience. So Stephanie and I are thrilled to have a conversation.
So can you tell us a little bit about how your student or your children have had a different experience than, say, a regular, normal school, and how the Spaulding Day School has sort of changed their academics and their life, maybe?
Yeah, I think that, what separates, Spaulding from any other, school or Montessori school, private school, day school, homeschooling, is the fact that they don't follow a curriculum. They follow based on where the child is, academically, with their own needs, their own desires, wants. Their learning is based solely on, where they're at, and so they can do, a lot of arts, a lot of crafts, things that, they don't struggle with. And just having that one-on-one relationship, smaller classroom sizes, a ton of, interaction with other peers. We have a lot of kids that are different ages, which is where, they get that support. Always, when the teacher is busy or, helping another child, then there's another child always willing to help, wanting to help, and confident in doing that. And I think that separates Spaulding from other schools, is the fact that they learn where they should be at and not what they're expected to be at.
Mm-hmm. So Carol, how has the smaller class size impacted your children in school?
So my son and daughter, they feel really free to express themselves, either through art or any type of activity that they're doing. For instance, there was one time where my son went for a walk with a friend out in the bush, and they came across some deer bones. And so they took them back and cleaned them up, and my son, he was so excited to take them back to Spaulding Day School, show them to the kids. They got them out, they were all cleaned up, but they took them all out. They were, trying to find out what bones belong to which part of the body. And it literally sparked a conversation in my son, learning about all the different parts, and he didn't stop talking about it for 2 days. And they're encouraged to what they find out in their daily life bring into the school, and then what they learn in the school is actually takes them out into their daily life with, with dealing with different anxieties and that sort of thing. My daughter, she feels comfortable and accepted and it's a smaller group of kids, so they're not, I don't know, it just makes it more comfortable for them to talk. It's not as much of an audience, it's more personal for them. So even though they're learning on so many different levels, they're also learning about, social interaction. And I think that's something that's kind of lost in regular school. It's this, and this. It's very structured, which can be great, but it doesn't suit every style of learning. And, the teachers at the Spaulding Day School really recognize that and encourage each individual child to speak their minds,
express themselves,
how to do it in a positive manner, and actually have peers react to that in a sincere manner, and then engage in the conversation. I think that's one of is almost getting to be a lost art for for, people in general. So I think that's, really exceptional.
I learned how to make butter the other day, because a lot of kids have the understanding of butter is butter, but how a lot of things are actually made, and just having that hands-on learning experience that you don't actually, see in a lot of the schools. Andria, actually, their teacher at Spaulding School brought in, cream and all this stuff, and they actually got to do food coloring and change the colors and actually put it on toast, and just all these like hands-on things. And like you said, with the bones and learning, they're learning sign language on Fridays. They're learning things that they would have never, science, but not only science in a book form, science in experimental form. So we're working hands-on. So we're actually understanding the concepts and how things are made, how we use energy, how we do all these things where, you can read in a textbook, but I'm a hands-on learner. I need to see, feel, touch. I need to experiment. I need to do all those things. Are very, important for my way of learning. And with other kids are book learning, but Andria takes it to the next level. And that's where they have that hands-on. They have all of these, things and amenities around them that they can explore and actually understand what it is they're actually learning.
So it sounds like the learning strategies of individual students are honored, and then the other students benefit from that. So tell us more about that creative. It sounds like creativity and questioning is sort of a fundamental piece. So how has that influenced your children?
Yeah, so they have a sense of peace, at school, in the sense of they can free of speech, free of how they learn best, what their goals are, what they want to accomplish. I mean, my daughter, came home the other day and was like, Mom, for the first time ever, I didn't have to raise my hand. And, and that thought that she was able to express herself without, forgetting it, because you have 5 other kids with their hands up. She was able to express herself without waiting for, 5 to 10 other kids that all have a question. Because of that small classroom size, it's more personal, it's more, you have that time that they lack, because there's that time and attention that they don't get with 30 kids, right? They get more, and if she doesn't have time to answer it, there's always somebody that's engaged because they're actually enjoying what they're doing. So it's made, a tremendous difference for my kids, because they just feel like they're comfortable in their learning, and they're actually wanting to learn. They don't have that block there that they fear, kids are gonna judge them if they talk about it, or kids are gonna, wonder why they asked that question, or that they feel, that they can't do something, where they don't have that there. Like they feel like they're not judged, and everything is valid. They have it's okay to ask things that don't make sense, that are silly, that are funny, that we all have to learn, eventually through creativity. So
Yeah.
So would you say if a parent was kind of thinking, the regular school, let's quote that, regular schools aren't fulfilling their child's need, would you recommend Spaulding School for them, or?
Absolutely. To be honest with you, I wish this existed long ago, and I would have saved a lot of headaches, in a sense of stress and struggles for my children, that they finally now, I see a whole different side of learning and education, and just having that sense of calmness that I've never once felt in the school system, that I can actually say I have now. And just things that my daughter is doing now that I would have probably thought I would never see. And I just wish that I could, I can't express enough that I wish everybody could feel what I feel, and have the same smiles that come home, and the same, proud of their art and proud of the things they create, and coming home and talking about sign language and things that, like, it's just, you can see it in their expression, like how happy they are.
And coming home and talking about anything.
Talking as well. So
yes, they're like,
right.
What did you learn today?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That
so
doesn't
long.
happen when
Nope.
they go to Spaulding Day School. They come home and they're like, Mom, did you know, such and such and such, and did you know this type of cloud? And the things that my son comes home with and tells me, I'm like, oh, buddy, that's great. I can actually sit and have a conversation with him about what he's learned, instead of nothing. And that's what I got.
And then he
at
almost
technical school.
becomes the teacher to you, and how good would that make him feel to be the holder of the information, to be able to share that with Mom.
Absolutely.
And it's so exciting.
Yep.
So for Carol, for you, what sets Spaulding School apart from the other schools for you?
It's an education that is actually incorporating valuable life skills. You know, you need to be able to learn to converse with people. You need to learn how to, you know, even debate things, or, you know, this person has this opinion. That's great. You know, discussing different things. He's becoming more well-rounded as a person. Thanks to Spaulding Day School, which is really important to me, because I want him to grow and learn and be encouraged to learn more things, where you know, he's asking questions for me, or telling me stuff. I have no problem with him coming home and saying, Mom, you know, can we go and plant the seed, because it's going to grow into this type of flower, and this type of bee is going to come and get it. And seeing a smile in his eyes while he's, you know, discussing these things with me, that's what you want from any of your children, to come home from school that day, and saying it. If you know, I would want that for any child, really. It's just such an exceptional experience. He really is loving his time there. He's excited. So my son attends part-time, but when it's Spaulding Day School, I'm like, buddy, it's time to go. Yeah. He's up, he's dressed on his own, he's shoveling cereal in his face, and I don't care, Mom, put whatever you want in my lunch, and it's just the easiest day. Every other day is like nothing.
And they're mad when there's a PA day. They're actually mad. I've never thought I would hear that come out of their mouth. And whenever there's a PA day, they're like, "What? No school?" And I was like, it's just, I can't even describe to you how the difference. And not only that, but in, you know, the years that I would get maybe little to no communication from the teacher, you know, report cards would come home with, you know, just a name crossed out, her name in place. And then now it's like I'm getting emails every day about how their day was, things, how can we improve, how can we do this is where they're at, this is what I think is best. Like that constant communication, that not only do I know that they're, you know, succeeding, but they care. Like they care to actually communicate with me. They care what level my daughter's at, where we're at. And I think communication is key with anything. But I think that that separates itself from any school, because I've never had that type of care ever, nor experienced that.
And sharing their knowledge as well. We had, just an example, we had a family friend over, and she had a toddler, and the toddler's just, you know, learning how to say words. Well, my son, you know, went to his room and he got out these little cards, and he's like wanting to teach her how to read, and I'm like, that was amazing. I mean, and that's not something that's typical of him. Normally he's just happy playing with trucks and whatever. And, you know, he's wanting to share that knowledge. So I think, you know, that's fabulous.
Especially when he went from struggling with reading to now teaching. That's like a huge step, right?
Yeah, it's showing his confidence. And, you know, he's come up, you know, five reading levels in a very short time, which is something to be said. That's, you know, it's working for him.
Well, and I think with that type of education, where it's actually based on their capabilities and their learning, is my daughter's done more in 2 months, you know, being there full time than she has in 6 years. If that doesn't speak volume, I don't know what does, right? Yeah. Because you can really see the difference of her feeling confident and comfortable, opposed to structured, routined curriculum.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like everybody learns at their own levels. I don't care what anybody says. It's true. It's a known fact. And I can see what that does. I can truly see the meaning behind that with how they're learning, and just the difference in itself.
I love that. So I'm hearing the inspiration, the curiosity, but not only that, but them excelling in their learning levels. So because it is a school, they're going to be progressing through what they need to learn for as far as curriculum, but much, much more. It sounds more rounded. So that is incredible. That is incredible. What do you see for the future as they continue through the day school? How do you see the...
I see brilliant kids.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I see kids that are going to adventure off with where they need to be in life. I see kids that are going to be set up for it. I see kids that are going to be confident. And I see a lot less stress and anxiety of things that I used to deal with that I don't have to anymore.
Wow.
So I see a bright future for them now. Not that I would never say that, in any other circumstance, but just the difference and how far we've come, I feel confident with saying that. So
Wow. So it was more of a concern before, but
Absolutely.
now it's you've got that peace.
absolutely.
Wow. What
Yeah.
about you, Carol?
Well, I'm hopefully looking forward to having them participate more often with Spaulding, and even possibly into high school, which is a huge concern for me, where typical supports fall off. I do have a daughter with special needs, physical, and in high school, I mean, each step as you go in the standard school system, you get less and less support. And as they get closer and closer to, being on their own, they need more support. They need as much support and encouragement as they can. So, with a high school program, I see them being set up for success instead of set up for disappointment.
Agreed.
And, yeah.
Which is the best part about this. Like, my daughter has social anxiety huge, and the fact of her changing schools or environments is crucial to her, and a fear that is like no other. And the fact that she knows she can stay in one place throughout her entire, that's all that matters. That's all that matters to her. It's in her thought process that she doesn't have to, change schools, change friends, change environments, change routine. She's very routined in what she does. That's how she learns best. She needs to be aware of every situation. And with Spaulding, she can, because she has control of her environment, which she can't have that elsewhere. And that is and that's where people, with, kids with disabilities or learning disabilities or mental health and all of those things that are very important are met at Spaulding. Those thoughts, those fears are all met in different ways, and that brings you comfort knowing your kid is in a good place and they're actually being watched and their education is being given and all of these things that you don't see in other school systems, because they're overwhelmed and they're overcrowded and we're being failed. So I mean, I wish that everybody could experience what we're experiencing, and I think the more knowledge that gets out there about it, like, everyone's going to look back and be like, why didn't we do this sooner? That's all I can say.
Right.
Yeah.
So as
Absolutely.
parents, what has been the difference as far as feeling involved in your child's school and education?
Huge. I have communication that I never had before. I have a report card that actually talks about my daughter's learning and where we're at and what we're doing, and not some, structured form that is the same for every child.
Right.
This is actually based on my child. And I have, emails, or I get the fact that it's close to my home, fortunately for, myself, and I can pop in, or we have sub days, so I'm able to go and I get subs. I try to keep it as close to the school system as they're used to. So we will go pick up subs, we'll have sub day, we'll have pajama day, we'll have popcorn day, we'll have all of those things that are very important in the schools that makes you feel like it's just not a school setting, but it's fun. Learning can be fun. And so we do that, we do sorts of things. We, they have a park around the corner, we go to the park. There's all these things that they talk about. And the library, they go to the library and they read a book and they pick it and then they talk about it. And everything is just more expressed and more talked about than just given a library book and let's talk about the library book. What did you get? Why did you want to read it? Why? Everything is more exaggerated, right, in what they're doing. So I think that's important as well. But it definitely is.
Much more rich.
Exactly.
Yeah. Rich of a education.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And it's not just something you've read. We're explaining what it is that you've read. Like, there's actually a definition to what you're learning.
Right.
And the experiment or experience, for that matter, behind it.
Right.
So for me, if you're going to explain something, I need to know what you're talking about, not just show me.
Yes.
Literally show me.
And it's interesting because we often will evaluate children on comprehension, and it's just expected that
That's right.
you go to the library, you read the book, you've comprehended.
Return it.
But what you're explaining is really demonstrating and experiencing the comprehension together, and having a conversation and bringing it alive.
Agreed.
That's incredible.
And that's what
Yeah.
separates. Also, it's the
Yeah.
little things
Yeah.
that you think about, and you're like, that just you've never experienced before, and you're like, is this really
Yeah.
this is what school should be.
Right.
This is what school
Yeah.
should be. And that is honestly all I could say. Like when you see the difference, and all I can say is like, I can't show you, but if you see it, you will understand. And I think that once you understand, you're going to be like, I can't believe I didn't do this. And you'll see it in your kids. That you'll see it.
Wonderful.
It'll speak volume.
So, Carol, if you could say something to a parent who's considering Spaulding Day School, is there something that you would want to share to another parent?
One thing that really made a big difference to me and spoke volumes was that after attending the orientation, it was great to hear from the other parents of the kids that were attending the school and how happy the kids were. But also they were invited to, go for an afternoon and just come hang out, try, see what it's like. Have the child, just kind of get a feel for the room, and see what comes of that. That means, that the child, definitely is welcome there, and they want your kids to be happy. They want them to be involved, and that means that they really care about the students. They really are not just there for, come on in, we'll collect your tuition and teach you some things. It doesn't feel like that at all. It really feels like an extension of like a friends and family setting. They are there to enrich your children's lives while giving them an education. It's kind of a great bonus. So you feel like you've won the lottery actually when you see the reaction of your children. So just go in, give it a try. Like if you want to sit in the back corner and watch or I would say watch from like afar, because what you'll see your child engaging in will probably just blow you away.
Incredible. That's great. It sounds like a wonderful welcoming community, and that's what we've been craving in school systems. So that's amazing.
We have it. We have it.
Is there anything else you might want to, that we've missed, that we haven't talked about, that you think someone who's on the fence here would like to know? Or
I just think that every child should feel welcome and important and should have an education, and at Spaulding we have that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing
Absolutely.
your experiences, and hopefully we can share this with other parents, and they might have some sort of, great change in their kids if they're struggling.
If there's any, any hesitation in what you're experiencing in the regular school system, I would definitely say check out the Spaulding Day School, because 100%. You're going to find a big difference.
Even for one day a week, right? Like
even
that's what you guys do.
So mine go full time, hers,
Mine just do one day a week, and it breaks that up. But like I said, it is no fight day. They love going.
Good day.
It's such a great day.
Like vacation day at school.
No, really.
Right.
They're actually happy to be there.
Yeah.
It's weird saying that, but they're happy to be there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. And it's such a it's a
It's a
wonderful
relief.
feeling.
Yeah, it's a relief for everybody.
And to hear kids loving learning is phenomenal.
Amazing.
So thank you, Danielle and Carol, for sharing
Thank
your
you.
heart and
Thank
your
you for having us.
success. And it's incredible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.